nobody's watching, but I'll still do the intro. But working on Emma. Okay, we're gonna be working on her hair first. And hi, whomever this is. Thank you for watching. I'm testing my markers to use for her hair. And I'm trying to find the right blonde mixture that I want to use for this. That is definitely not it. That's like green. That's gross. I'll go with that. I like giving Emma a bit of an ashy blonde. So this is E41. So I'll use this as a base. I apologize if I sound a little rough today. It's been a not very fun week. So I will try and be chipper, but it's gonna creep through my voice at times, so I apologize in advance for that. That will be, well, I'm gonna try to do next week. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to, I need to see what my travel's gonna be to head out for a funeral. But if I do a live next week, it will be the poison ivy. I have her sitting right over here. I just haven't been able to work on anything. So production work kicked in. But I will try. It's been fun. Deadlines and taxes wait for no one. So work it is. Again, so I'm not sure. It shows up a lot greener on camera. Like this whole thing looks a lot more yellow slanted than it actually is from the iPhone camera, which is always stellar with its color reproduction. Anyway, but yeah, I like using like an E41 for ashy blonde, and I like giving Emma a very cool tone blonde. Again, and I apologize for the vocal fry today. This is not normally how I speak, but I've been crying off and on all week, so that's, it catches up to you after a bit. So making her hair look a little natural with slightly darker at the root. And I just realized that I did not put the shadow down for the hair. But for a lot of artists, if you don't know already, hair tends to get lighter at the ends because it's older. So try and keep your darker tones at the top and kind of ombre it down to a lighter tone at the bottom. What did I use for those shadows? I want to say this. Was it this? No, that's too dark. Let's try Ash Rose. You can make the joke. You can make all the jokes. Oh, it's time for jokes. As my dogs walk in. They've been on duty all week too. So, they should be nice and pooped. See, just adding in some tones and some not highlights, but some shadows, lighting effects, and just kind of pulling things together a little bit before I dive into that background. And I'm this sounds weird because it's marker, but I'm letting the hair set a bit, the tones for it, so that way when I add in the purple tones to pick up everything else through here, all the blue tones, it doesn't, okay. The blue tone is a 0N, so that means it's a lot higher alcohol content. which means that it tends to really disperse things quite a bit. So you don't want to blow out your colors. Well, or tear the cap off, apparently. You can for some effects, but that's not my intent at the moment. I knew. Gracie, what are you doing, sweetheart? You're just walking behind me huffing and puffing. There we go. So I'm adding a little bit of blue through her hair, which will tone everything down quite a bit. If you hear the snuffleupagus in the background, that is Gracie wandering through looking for who the hell knows what. But her little 3 brain cells are telling her to find something, so God bless her. She's looking for something. So if you can tell on the camera, a little bit you can see it. It's making this a really, really chilly blonde color, which obviously works for Emma. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it balances out the blue in her lips. I do not like the blue lips with her, but people do. So but yeah, the plan is get this done tonight, and then it's back to production work for this weekend. I have to finish 2 or 3 covers this week, along with doing layouts for interior pages and stuff. And then hopefully Friday, if I am able to stream, that will be the poison ivy piece. And then this weekend is the funeral, and my puppies will be along for that to offer support. Might as well use the therapy dog certification for a reason, right? And that's what she's doing. She's climbing into the toy box to take a nap. Okay, that's my Gracie girl. All right. Sorry if you could hear that. Okay, let me see what I want to do with this background really quick. What are the tones that I have? So because it's so broad, I'm going to need some of my bigger markers. Don't mind the chaos back there. It gets loud. So we're gonna do a B12 for one of them. And just use my tester sheet down here. So we got B12, B23. I got my Emma tones for the reflections a little bit. And let's just start with there. And I'll go back through and add in all the different smoky tones and stuff. Message held for review. We will show that. Actually, no, I can't. I'm sorry, Caputin, I can't show that because of the streaming, but thank you. Yes, she is. Oh, Gracie, please, sweetheart, get out of there. Thank you. Can't color with the colorless blender. That wasn't going to work too well. Okay, so we are going to start behind her with the hair. Ooh, that's a little too much. So we'll use this. And there we go. That. Let her squeak. It's music. Some people have actual music in the background. I have my dog. She'll provide the entertainment. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna leave the white behind there because it ends up always being a bit janky, if not. So we'll do that. And then, nah, I kid about Gracie quite a bit. She's a really, really good dog. I was talking to a friend earlier today about it, and she was one of the hardest puppies I've ever had in my life. And anybody who's followed me knows that I've had quite a few puppies over the past few years, and she still ranks up there as one of the more difficult ones. But she, with time and maturity, has turned into such a good dog. And then going through the process of losing her puppy this year really, really matured her quite a bit. Matured all of us, I think. But she's back to being the fun-loving goober, which is good. And apologies if this doesn't show up very well on camera. I am doing my best with it. Well, I got 3 of the 4 out here sleeping, so we'll go with that. That works. Squeaky chair. I'm trying to not have to remove the tape. That's why I'm kind of working around on this. So I'll do this bottom stretch, the fabric, off camera, so that way that I don't have to worry about the tape on here. There's that. You see a whole bunch of different shades of blue. And every time I say that, my dog raises his head like me. Don't name your pets after colors if you're an artist. It confuses them. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is lay down a layer of colorless blender. And what I'm doing is, because this area is so white, I'm going to tint it with some blue, although I do get away with it because of the shadows on things. So you want to lay down quite a bit of soppiness. Yeah, that does show up. Okay. Just kind of saturate it a little bit. We'll be working with the reflections, so the reflections will be thereabouts. I like having very, very smooth blends, and unfortunately, sometimes you can't do that with paper like what we're working with here. Are these going to be the most natural reflections? No, but they'll work. The point will be made. Also very, very, very warm in my garage right now. So what I'm doing currently is laying down the base tones, and then what I will do in a minute is come back through, because I want these to look like big old diamonds or crystals, prisms, whichever. I'll come back through with some like really, really, really pale aquas and pinks and such. Will I ever come to the Dallas shows? Well, it's tough. I'm not sure I will be doing shows again. It is really, really difficult for me to travel with the pets. So I would love to, but there's a couple things I gotta get in order first. Mainly, like, I have to be able to buy, well, I have to buy a van, but I have to be able to afford the van first. And that is one of the reasons why I've been having panic attacks all week. So life is fun. Consider OAX. I had considered OAX this year, but that's when Gracie was due for her puppy. I'm not... Okay, so conventions are hard. I have a number of pets. And as much as I love doing the conventions, pet care and pet sitting or pet boarding, because it's just me, it's not like I can actually just have somebody stay home and watch them. I have to board them because all of my dogs are intact. There's only one boarding kennel in the area that will take them, and it's not cheap. They're amazing. They're incredible. They should not be cheap, but they're a little bit out of my budget when you consider doing things like OAX. I don't think I have enough of a fan base to pull in the money, bluntly, the money I would need to cover the costs for that. I had been invited this past time, and I did the math for it. It was almost, I think it was like $4,000 for me to just go for the show, and that was with me driving. So they were cool to work with. They were gonna give Blue some space there, and he was gonna sit it behind the table, but unfortunately, it was just too much. So, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing these streams again. Since I'm not doing shows, it gives me a little bit of a chance to do some outreach with, less chance of getting sick with crud. Because I always get sick with con crud, and that was another really huge contributing factor with me not doing conventions too much anymore. Is I get sick, and I cannot take the chance of getting sick when I'm trying to hold down all of this by myself. I don't have a backup. I don't have family. I don't really have any friends I can rely on. So, I mean, I have family, I have friends, but financially speaking, it's not like I can hit them up and be like, hey, went to a convention, can't pay my rent this month, or pay my mortgage this month. Help. Thank you. It's fun doing this. I like doing this stuff. Let's see. I can go with that. This is the boring part, guys. So this is just where I start layering in all the different colors. Let's see. We'll have a little bit of that here. If I was being clever, I would put the full reflection of her ass in there, but we're just gonna hint at it right now. Let's see me freehand a butt here. Where is that marker? Crap, where are you? There you are. I am not. I will likely be, once I get my stuff sorted out. I will probably do some whatnots. Oh, shoot, that is the wrong color. Well, okay. But I wanted to make sure I was comfortable streaming again. So last week was my first time doing this in ages. Oh, I think it went fairly well and had a lot of fun with it. So once I'm a little bit more confident and my dogs are more used to me doing this, then yes, I will be on Whatnot. But I've got to get them trained to not be punks while I'm doing this. But yes, so long story short, yes, I will be eventually. And I think what was Nerd Crawler, now Rare Mark, I think you pronounce it. I know they have some YouTube setups as well, so I can stream kind of like a Whatnot setup. I can stream exactly like I'm doing here, and it goes through on that side. I got to look more into it to see what's going on with that. But yeah, the Whatnot stuff looks interesting. I got to read a little bit more into it, but definitely interested in it for sure. Talk to a couple folks about it, because boy, do I have a lot of crap here. I was cleaning out the studio, trying to clean up my mess, and I came across an entire rolling cart bag full of prints. I mean, these are old. These are pushing like 10 years old at this point, but a lot of people don't care. So I'm going to go through and try to figure out what to do with those. So I think maybe doing mystery bags or mystery boxes or something like that might be fun, and Whatnot seems to be the perfect spot for that. Yeah, there's got to be close to 200 prints. No, not anymore, Tom. Also, hi. Nah, she's long since retired. These were, if folks on here remember, the project word I cannot say pieces I did, yeah, literally a decade ago at this point. There are a whole lot of those, as well as just some older painting prints that I did. I think there's a couple Gilas in there, things like that. But they're all retired pieces, like long since retired. And I pulled that bag out and like, oh my, that was a lot of money just to print. And that is why I got all of the, I have a massive printer here at home now, so I just print on demand at this point. Thank you. It is a balance. It's been something that I am out of practice on. I'm also out of ink in here, so give me 1 sec. I got to refill this. What are you? B000, do I have one? Nope. All right, so let me refill this thing real quick. 1 second, please. 222. Hi, babies. Look at you guys. You're all drunk. Yeah. You guys look like you're drunk puppies. There's nothing here, sweetheart. There's another bed for you, though. Why don't you go lay on that? Miss Goobers, go lay on the bed. Where is this refill? Oh, hell. Where is this refill? There it is. Okay. So that, do I have... There it is. Okay. Print on demand, it's definitely interesting. I go through a ton of ink, and the ink for my recent investment is almost, I think it's $700 to replace all of the ink cartridges, but they're huge. So this thing does 17 by 22 prints. Oh, pizza sounds delicious. I have leftover Chinese. That's going to be my dinner tonight. Thank you for stopping in. So I'm refilling markers, guys, for folks that just came in, because I just saw that count jump up. That's why I'm not drawing anything at the moment. Oh, hell. I keep forgetting that I have this cap in here. Oh, pop. No, not for this. This is a $1,000 printer, so I will stick with the archival ink that it has. So I'm not gonna risk that. And then the refillable printers, if I remember right, they're not really super color accurate. There was something, I gotta read up on them again, but there was one reason why I didn't choose it for my art printer. I would use it for a work printer, but not for an art printer. That sounds so dumb. I would use it for like a paperwork printer. Paperwork, blue lines, things like that. But what's nice about the big printer is that I can actually run super thick paper through it. So I can print directly onto basically canvas at this point. All right. Oh, well, that's leaking. We're going to say I overfilled that. You can sit there right now, buddy. Whoops. Yeah, the big old printer. I gotta do a couple runs. I think I'm gonna do a short run of the bit well, of Emma. Go figure, another Emma print. It's an you have me saying Epson now. It's a Canon Prograph 1000. So still a home printer, still not quite a commercial grade, but I don't need a commercial grade just yet. I need the space for a commercial grade first because those things take up a lot of room. But I like the Canon printers overall, or they tend to be my preference. I'm just invested in Canon stuff, I guess. Was not a conscious thing that I did, but I've got Canon cameras, Canon lenses, Canon printers. But I guess when you figure out what it is that you like, you stick with it. Or at least I do. Sometimes, for better or for worse. You can see I'm doing just kind of a loose background on this and over-saturating with the, you see how it's kind of, it might show up. See how it's kind of drippy a little bit? I'm doing that specifically to get kind of a bleeding effect on here. Like I want that watercolor edge effect on these at the moment to give a little bit of texture. I've really kind of become a bit of a texture snob. I guess that just comes from me painting now. Where the heck did I put my ruler? Oh, Jesus, it's right here. Okay. Look, it's been a long week. If you can get the larger version, I would recommend the larger version. Mainly because if you're going to spend that much on a printer anyway, just go for the big one. Because that way you don't... let me think of the word right now. I can't think of the word right now. You don't need to replace it as quickly. Wow, I sound like an idiot tonight. I do know English, guys. I do have a fairly substantial vocabulary, but I don't tonight. It doesn't go obsolete that quickly. There we go. Look at me, remembering things. This is gonna be fun. I have, oh shoot. Well, we're gonna see how this works through here. Ooh, no, you stay right there. You don't peel off that corner. Oh, shit. Well, you get to see why taping some of these covers is a bad idea. And I tacked this on my wrist and everything beforehand. Lovely. Okay, well, it's gonna be a snow effect. We're just gonna, I said I liked texture, so we're just gonna turn that into a happy little accident. Channel my damn Bob Ross. That's full of swearing. I'm like the anti-Bob Ross, I think. Cigar smoking, expletive spewing, caffeine guzzling, Bob Ross. There we go. Market for everything. I don't believe I did that. Goober, are you squishing the pup? Yes, you are. You're squishing the puppy. Okay. All right. Well, don't smother her too much. Oh, Henna, did she boot you out? So I have one of those big Papasan feels that tape issue. Snow effect, yes. That's exactly what it is. I have one of those big, huge, like 1980s special Papasan chairs in here for the dogs. And Henna, my youngest, was completely sleeping, just zonked out in it, and Gracie decided to just smoosh her in there. So also one thing for folks want drawing tips, get a clear ruler. Because you usually need to be able to see past it. Whew, this thing is way overfilled. Okay, well, just slop right on there. Boy, people with sound bites would have a field day with this, wouldn't they? What do we want to do here? Let's do blue-ish. And you're running. I am not refilling you. I just refilled you. I'm not doing this again. And that is the problem. It's been like, it's currently 81 degrees in here. So copics are not meant to be stored in higher temperatures like this, so they end up drying out really quickly, but I don't have an option. So we're just making do, and I just refill things as needed. If anybody has any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Or if you just don't feel like hearing my frog voice, I can stop talking too. But it'd be a very boring stream if that was the case. And what I will do, and after all of this is done, I'll come through with just some white gouache for highlights and things like that. And let's get another. Hi, Heather. The squeakies. I hate the squeakies. I figure my life is not very interesting. Might as well do a Friday night stream, right? All right, now let's start working in some alternate tones. That's, okay. These are just going to be very, very light tones to get the kind of prism effects going. As you can see, everything's just kind of dry at the moment. I know a lot of people are at, I think it's Motor City Comic Con this weekend. So I hope folks have a good time at that. I don't feel like refilling you, so let's find a different color. Go with you. Frost blue, go figure. That's very cyan. That is not at all what was needed here, but I guess we're going with it now. Oh yeah, forgot about Lake Como as well. That is one I would love to go to. I would absolutely love to go to Italy. Specifically Lake Como. It's absolutely gorgeous. I totally forgot that was happening this weekend as well. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, let's get some. Let me. Oop, well, that's my chair bashing into things. If this bumps the camera, I apologize. Actually, oh, okay, I gotta move this for a second. There. Look at the markers. Aren't the markers pretty? Yay, markers. Okay. Where I have to have the camera positioned is like right in the middle of everything. It does not make life easy moving through, trying to do some of this. The markers, yeah. Everybody loves the marker setup. I hadn't used them for ages, but I've had a ton of requests to do Copic stuff, and it's just like, you know what? I know my standing on them, but if people want them, they can get them. Customer's always right, etc., etc. They do have their purposes. I just don't like charging people a ton like I need to for commission work for stuff that's not completely archival. Okay, you see how I'm wetting it basically enough to buckle the paper for a minute? That's intentional. And it's so you get the wet in wet effects. Yeah, I remember doing those pieces for you. Thank you for that as well. Okay. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. So what I'm doing now is using the kind of violety pinky color to basically frame a lot of this. It's kind of like the rug in the Big Lebowski, really brings the room together, but adds a lot of depth and dimension. That wasn't too long ago. I actually found them going through my scans a couple days ago. Forget what else I was looking for, but yeah, came across the raw scans of them. Which one? Because I'm only seeing your screen name. Which Nightcrawler was that? Is it the colored one that I did, or the black and white Copic one? Okay, so black and white one. That thing is still part of my portfolio. That's what, a decade old now? And I still include it with portfolio pieces. I used to love doing the black and white Copic. I've done a couple pieces recently in it, and it was nice kind of working tonally again. I'm not sure which one that is, the black and white piece that caused you to follow me. I have a lot of projects, and for the longest time, it's one of the reasons why I'm in the financial position I'm in. For the longest time, I have been the queen of dead-end projects. Like, if you need something to get to die, you send it to me. Hello. So is that Final Fantasy 4 or Fantastic Four? 4. I am trying. I have also tried doing other things and nothing has worked, so my only option is to keep it up at this point. Like, nothing else is working. So, doing what I can. Trying to be upbeat about it, but it gets entertaining. But y'all didn't pop onto a stream to listen to me be an Eeyore, so we're not going to do that. I can't find the color I want. There we go. Let's try you. Let's see. What paper I actually buckled a bit. Okay, Gracie, that's enough. You know what? We're gonna add a little bit of a butt there as well. And just a hint. Hannah, stop. Thank you. And this is where you guys see me just kind of wing a couple things. Primarily reflections. That's not the color that I want. Let's try you. That. That's that. There it is. That through there, that through there. It's gonna blend it all together. I really wish the camera would pick up what these colors actually look like, because they look a lot better than they do on the screen, from what I can see. Yes, well, I mean, yes. If they've just drinking, oh my God. If they've just like had a drink of water and stuff like that and they shake, but otherwise not really. Blue will if he's excited because he's a boy and he's got those big jowls on him. But the girls, no. Nope, they're good. Thankfully, because Blue gives me enough of a mess to clean up. You can't see what I'm doing over here, can you? There you go. How old is your pup now, JB? Ooh, it's toasty in here. Okay, so work down here a little bit. Oh wow, I remember when he brought her home. Time flies. Okay, do I risk it? Cross your fingers. Do I hear you pick? Nope, nope, don't do it. Don't you do it. Oh, thank God. Okay. That's cute. People just know him from being out and about. Try to get this angle down a little bit without knocking my table over. So when I add the gouache, I'm going to be a little heavy-handed through here to cover up the pencil that didn't erase. This cover stock is actually pretty good, except that if you have to draw on it directly rather than doing like a transfer, it does not lift the best. So it leaves a lot of smearing and residue. If you hear the snoring, that is my, I still call her my puppy because she's tiny. But that is my little girl Henna, sounding like a chainsaw. Oh, that's cute. Boxers have that way about them, where they just kind of make friends almost everywhere, whether you want them to or not. So what I'm doing now is adding in shadows. So I have the light coming this way, so there's going to be a shadow from the hip and the butt. Help if I actually pan the camera over. Okay. And when you hear the squeaking, that usually means that your marker needs to be refilled, but I'm not doing it right now. You can wait. She is snoring quite impressively. Let's see, there should have been a reflection on there, but I did not do that. Oh well. I should take a photo of all the different markers that I use. I mean, this piece looks fairly straightforward, but the amount of markers that I still end up using is absolutely absurd. That's on me, because I'm an idiot, but it's still ridiculous. So what I will do off camera is do the highlights and such, because I gotta get in close with the gouache and stuff, and that just gets to be a mess. And I also need to be able to move this around freely. So that stuff will be done off camera, but the vast majority of this should be done tonight. And then it will be going up for auction, probably for next weekend. Thank you. Tell her I've been keeping an eye on her stuff. It's been beautiful. Really kind of leveled up lately. I think it was a Lady Death or a Vampirella cover that I saw recently. So what I like to do is kind of take a very pale color overall. So in this case, it's B41, and I'm kind of using this throughout the piece, but I'll use this as kind of like a uniform shadow color. Just kind of use it all over the place. Really kind of makes everything a little bit more cohesive. At least gives the illusion of a standard light source. Oh, you can't see me working on the hand. Yeah, when I go through and start kind of pulling everything together, I am sloppy about it. I do not really pay attention to clean edges, clean lines, because it all tends to kind of unify at the end. So I've gotten a lot looser with my approaches over the past couple years. Since I started painting, that has changed my approach to doing a lot of this. It's neat, kind of looking back at the older pieces and thinking about how you would approach it now. There's that. Do I want to do that? No, I don't. Okay, so let's go through and start adding in a couple more shadows going through. And I'm not sure I can zoom in anymore. This will be going through doing the shadows for the laces and stuff like that. Little bits of detail work. And then again, off camera, I will come through with the gouache and colored pencils and stuff and really kind of pull out details that might be too tiny or too, they need a little bit of a tighter edge or a sharper edge to it than what I can get with a marker. Have you seen the Hellraiser piece that I did? I mean, it's a couple years old now, but I have learned about, well, what I have learned about myself over the past number of years is that even when I try to draw ugly, in grotesque, it still ends up being pretty. Like, I can't draw gross. Hello. And you're welcome. Thank you for popping in again. We're probably going to be wrapping this one up pretty soon. So if you guys have suggestions that you want to see, or if want me to just stop at an hour, I can do that. Or if you want to hang out and I can try the colored pencils on here. But I think I'd rather do that off. Because if I gotta sharpen, it gets loud. Yeah, this is kind of a thick Emma, but not like what they did in the Marvel Rivals game, because that's a little too much, in my opinion, for Emma. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that body type. I damn near have that body type at this point, but not for Emma. Let's see, I need a very, very, very light pink. And we're gonna go this way so you can see. Yeah, my gross stuff still is pretty. I've tried doing it with comics. I've tried doing cosmic horror stuff, and it just all ends up being pretty. So I've just given up and just leaned into it at this point. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. So, you can see how I'm holding the marker now, like I hold a paintbrush. This is also what I mean, like, you don't need to be precious about this. Just get in there and be messy. And but you see, I'm not sure if it picks up, and my brace is actually blocking my view of the camera on here, so I can't even tell, but you see how it really kind of pulls everything forward a little bit? And that's because it's the violet is kind of contrasting with the cyan on here, so it's color theory. Yay. There it goes. But it's also what makes everything look prismatic. Excuse me. Hey Beth, how are you? Does this pink even pop up on the camera? I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'll have to take a good photo. It's really subtle. Oh, it might not be. Again, just hold it loose, stay loose. I mean, obviously this needs to be for larger pieces. This technique is not really going to work on like sketch cards or anything like that, but bigger pieces, just stop being so precious. All right. Squeak, 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 squeak. Like a guinea pig. All right. I think that's about as much as I'm going to be able to do on this. What I will do, bear with me 1 minute, is I will put the touches. Let me see if I can zoom in on this at all. Can I? Oh, I can. Okay. So let me try and tighten this up real quick. Sorry for the gibbering right here. My camera's being dumb. Okay. So what I will do is I will get the highlights on her face done for people. So that way, because that gives so much life to a piece. So let me get it sorted real quick. Where is it? That's the question of the day. Did I put these things away? Hell. Okay, give me one minute, guys. Okay. So I'm gonna spin this around really quick because I am not going to pronounce this brand on screen. This is the brand of gouache that I'm using just for highlights. I will not do an entire piece in this because it's not completely archival, but the white is white. White is white, so. And again, I will not be pronouncing that on stream because it's a bad idea and I'm not even monetized and I will be demonetized before it even starts. So, all right, let me dig these out really quick. Oh, sorry for the shaking, guys. Let me move this. I had to order these in from Japan, but they are top notch. Where are you? There you are. Okay, that water. My trusty old busted coffee mug. And this is what it is. So it comes in, it's super thick. Like it's like a paste. Okay, that's that. People go through and they buy all these fancy studio pieces and all this equipment, and I use coffee mugs and cans. All right. So my brush, my good brush for this. Okay, what's that? And that. And then my hack is that I just use the cap. And the other hack is that these are the best cheap brush you will ever find. I think they're like $3 a piece. So you don't need to worry about if you don't clean them right, but that's why I use these for all the details, because when the tip dies on them, I just throw them out. I don't feel guilty about it. But the trick is you've got to just get the right consistency. And now you guys see what I mean when I say that. The white is what, the highlights are what makes the pieces typically. And the reason why I use gouache is because if I don't like how high a highlight is, like how that eye is in there, I can go back through and I can take it back down. So that's why you'll see me doing these little like dots and stuff through here. And then I will come back through and kind of knock it back a little bit. And through usage, you kind of figure out how, like what consistency, the thickness of the paint that you can use. That just comes from knowing your materials. But you can load the brush just like I did there for different effects. And this is why it's hard to do on camera, because typically I would turn this. Let's see how I load the brush differently than when I'm working on the face, and it's because I'm doing a longer stroke. And this paper does not like this stuff. All right, let's clean that. Try again. Okay, knock back to the other eye. Here, see how that works, and you can just kind of. This is a 3-0 brush, so it is pretty much one of the smallest ones that you can get that can still be functional. And then it's Emma. I'm just being a little extra through here. Just kind of blend it through. Okay, and that's all you can really do with a 3-0 brush on this, but you can get the liners, and then you load these up, so these are longer. It's tough to get that in focus. And you just kind of roll it. This is what I do for these. And it's just because it kind of keeps that point that I want for right now. You can also dip it, and that loads the brush really well as well. But for what I want, I still need a little bit more water, but I want the longer lines. And it's probably tough for this to be seen on camera, but it is doing stuff. All right, so this one's going to be a little goopier intentionally because I want it to hit here and then load there. Hand is cramping, so I'm holding my brush stupid, which is causing it to cramp more. Right. Not sure if you guys can see. You can see how I'm holding my brush. I actually don't mind my ratty ass hands right now, but I have a divot in my finger from holding brushes. So you will never see me with like the pretty nails. These are old lady artist hands. Okay, so you see how kind of chunky that looks right now? I will go back through in a minute and pull that all through. And well, oh my god, let me start over. I will go back through, blend that out so it meshes quite a bit better. Let me grab a palette real quick. Maybe I'll grab that. There we go. These are cheap ass palettes that you can get on Amazon, and so you don't have to clean them out. You just throw them out. They work great. The brush kept gunking up, so it was time for, and I just do this. If you can see that, just kind of make a little puddle. It's time for the fur texture, so what I like doing is coming through at the edges and just pulling some white back through. Scooch this back out a little bit so you can see a little better. Ooh, that phone is hot. And then I'm intentionally going through and kind of matching some of the lines that did not erase properly. So just kind of making them a feature, not a bug. But you see how the liner is living up to its name. It is doing much nicer lines than the 300. And this is where I get in trouble right there. It will be as of June 1st. I'm planning a large update on June 1st, but yes, it will be then. So like 2 more weeks. Everything will be nice and updated. Like I can push it to go live now, but I told people June 1st and I'm gonna stick to June 1st. Because I got a bunch of stuff to do this week. So now I don't have a lot of my prints. I have pretty much a year's worth of prints that need to go up. This weekend I'm going to put a note on the store that there will be a print dump, art dump in general, as of June 1st. I just need to take an inventory of all the different comps and things I have. I was going to go through CGC with them, but I'm hearing left, right, up, and down that a lot of people don't really care about the CGC anymore. Not sure if that's true or not, but it's an option if people want it. But if you guys have heard otherwise, let me know. I do have an artist account on there now, so I can do it. I just don't. I'm not overly familiar with the process, like, at all. Thank you. That one, that whole series was a lot of fun. So that one, so it's Surge and Shadow King, and I forget what the other characters were. It's the Cyclops character, and I forget what I think Mara? No, that's Nico Maro. That's not who I'm thinking of. But the girl with the bunny hat. They were just a lot of fun to draw. All right, let's see. Okay, this actually might be done here soon. Ooh, you heard that. That was my jaw popping. Probably not good. Okay, what's that? Got a little bit of shadows to do. Don't let me forget that I gotta put the shadow on that crop. But let me clean this up first. That's close. Always, always, always clean your brushes. And if you're like me and you constantly get it down at the brush head, the ferrule, make sure you clean it good. Otherwise that crap dries in there and it makes a mess. I mean, she's supposed to be. So, blend out that inner corner. Get my tip back. That. Let me get a bigger brush for the hair. And I'm going to use a chisel. This is tough. mind, how long has that been sitting there? Just go right back through. I know a lot of people like using the acrylic gouache. To me, that's just matte acrylic paint and not gouache. So I highly recommend if you're going to use it, use the real stuff. So long as you actually know how to use it or take the time to figure out how to use it. Get a big fluffy brush. It's like a makeup tutorial. Get a big fluffy brush. Just kind of schmootzing around. And this is when it becomes risky working on some of these covers because you can actually damage the cover. Your call, guys. Do you want me to do the colored pencil on here, or do you want me to do that off camera? Because it might get a little bit loud if I have to sharpen the pencils. Y'all let me know. I'm also losing my voice. So if you're curious, okay, I'll go grab the colored pencils then. If you're curious, I'll be using the colored pencils all in through here and such. So, I said it might get loud. Okay, let me get this done. I'm gonna show you how do you guys want to see how I organize my colored pencils now? Because I have a bajillion and 12. So I was probably gonna rattle the desk for a minute when I go to set everything down. I apologize for that. Okay, let me grab the container. Let me zoom back out. Oop, maybe zoom back out. I think that's back to scale now. Okay, so you're gonna get the, well, here, move that there. Okay, prepared for a rattle here in a second. Okay, and I'm gonna pop this out and this way you guys can see this real quick. So this is gonna be shaky cam. And how do I have this tied up here? I store them like this. Glass jars, mason jars, coffee cups. But these are just my Prismacolors. I have an entire desk drawer. And, oh, that's that. Oh, hold on. All those of colored pencils. A lot of these are pastels, though. Pastel pencils, watercolor pencils, like specialty stuff. These, I got sick of digging, and I inherited, or was given, a couple sets of old school. Let me see if I can find them. The old school barrel Prismacolors, and it's tough to see on here. Why won't you focus? Okay, well, it's not going to focus on here, but these are the ancient Prismacolors. So I had a lot of duplicates, but I like storing them like this because I can just take the whole cup and come back over. So, get this back in here. And those are the, well, it's now 79 degrees in here, but those are the markers that I used just for the little white areas. Okay, there it goes. Sorry, turn the power off. Hold on. There it goes. Caught back up. All right, let me try and get this in here without accidentally turning everything off again. Okay, my phone is starting to overheat for some reason. Okay, get all this set back up. Sorry for the shaky cam, guys. Okay, this is going to be a little complicated, but we're going to make it work. Goes over there. That willow piece is still one of my favorites. I still have prints of that too. But yeah, the reason why I mentioned that is the paper that was printed on is, oh my God, it's so good. So good. Okay, so what I'm gonna try to work on is bring a little bit more depth to her face. So for that, I'm going to need, actually, I'll do this. Okay, let me move the water so I don't dunk my pencil in water. So some of these colors, they might not even make anymore, so I'm not really gonna rattle off the colors. And I do have a manual colored pencil, but it doesn't give the tip that I like, but we'll try it. Okay. Ooh, it's toasty. So you can kind of see how it pulls everything forward and why I do this stuff last. Typically I'll do the gouache last, but sometimes it doesn't like to stick, and I was correct in that it would not want to stick on this stock. The stock is really kind of slick after it's been worked on a little bit. I want to get a little bit of depth around her eyes, a little bit more depth. Shoot, what pencil do I want? I'll try this. Not a lot, just a little. And all it does is just pulls things together a little bit more. And that's actually not the color I was looking for. I know. Oh. There it is. So I'm using a very, 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 very light touch with these. And I don't know, has anybody said anything after the willow piece that I did for Jacob was stunning? If not, somebody please say something so I know I didn't screw up this chat. Because I hit all the buttons when I was moving the phone around. Okay, good. All right, so I don't want to do too much there. I'm gonna add a little bit to her hair. And this might be tough to pick up on the oh, I forgot that shadow. Exactly what I said I was going to forget. Not a thick one, but just enough. There it goes. So this is just adding a little bit of depth through this. And I don't want to add too much because the textures are different. So this will have like a gloss look when I scan it, and I don't want that. My dogs are beckoning me to go to bed. You all right, Bubba? So you can see, it's really subtle. Hi, buddy. We're about to get moose bombed. Come on, you coming through? Come on, want to say hi? Come on. Here, you can come through. Want to show people you exist? This is Blue. Hey, Bella. What you doing? And this is what he does. He sits right in front of things. Buddy, you can wait for right now. Let me finish this up. As I knock my camera all over the place. It's not holding now. Great. Hold on. Sorry, guys. This thing just decided to go completely wonky. Please stay. I need to get better gear if I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis. All right, if it starts to slide, please let me know. Okay, and yep, it's sliding. Cool, cool, cool. This is great. So this, I think they still make it. This is clay rose. I use a lot of these colors for shadows. Well, the fun thing is, I won't do it on this paper because this paper likes to bleed quite a bit. But on other stock, you can actually use one of the colorless blenders and come over these and it melts them because it's just rubbing alcohol. It will destroy your colorless blender after a little bit, but works for effects occasionally. So I'm gonna get her skin tones done, and I think I'm gonna call it once I get that stuff done. So I gotta be up super early in the morning. We're starting dog sports tomorrow. So I gotta be there at 9 a.m. and because it's Atlanta, it'll take me an hour to get there, over an hour. As you can see, I use the colored pencil for just kind of pulling things together a little bit more, giving some things some refined edges. I'm not sitting here and just laying it on thick. I'm just using it to enhance it a little bit. And always make sure that your hands are clean before you start doing this stuff. So you can see, get into a habit of wiping your hands across the piece and it can go real bad real quick. Let's soften this in here a little bit. And a little bit more to her hair. Alright guys, I think I'm going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've done here tonight? Or anything you guys want to see? Questions in general? Life, the universe, everything? I'm 42 this year, so that is the meaning of life year, according to the immortal words of Douglas Adams. I have never felt older in my life than I do this year. It's really kind of ramming home to me this year. I don't know why, but it is. Ooh, you do work nicely for the white. Okay, I guess this is going to be the shadow color for this. Do not like how her hair came out right there, so I'm going to wet that down again. I keep coming back to it, and I keep like, every time I see it. So hold on. Soften that up, because I don't like it. Where's my brush? Good. glad I can at least influence somebody positively or positively. My voice is like slurred tonight. I swear to God, I have not been drinking. Might actually do me some good if I did. At this point. All right, let's make sure. Also, if you're using white gouache on anything, always, always, always test your brush first, because it will contaminate with every color. So, test that there, and then you test it on a sheet of paper. All right, let's clean that up. That's better. Hi, Bubba. And this is what I was saying about gouache being nice, that you can just kind of go, nope, don't like it, and remove it. Buddy, you've got to wait, sir. I will fiddle with this a little bit more off camera to make sure I get that whole area correct. And I just don't like it. Oop, 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 oop. Okay, we're gonna stop on that. This is starting to lift the paper a little bit. Now the question is, what are you drinking? That's the good night, or the question of the night. Okay, yeah, my brain, guys, is done. So I'm gonna stop here. I'm fried. Let me see. I'm gonna zoom that back out so y'all can see it properly. I'm gonna take this off here. Whoop. There it goes. And that way you can see the piece in full. And this is the janky little piece of crap I've been using. But there we go. There's Emma so far. And then, again, this looks a lot softer in person. And then what I'll do is I'll come in off camera and I'll do the colored pencil spots in the background, because that's going to have me blocking the entire thing. So, there we go. Thank you guys for stopping in and saying hi and following along. And then I got all the markers. There's the ivy that I was talking about. I've got a whole bunch of dogs that are passed out. And I have a cat in the house that is screaming at the top of his head. So, hi, Goober. Thank you for being a good girls. Here we go, good girls. And then that is epic there, Henna. Good job. Gracie, get down. You guys gotta go outside. You gotta go potties. Yeah? You gotta go potties? You're welcome. Next one, like I said, I will try to do a stream next week. I'm not sure. Depends on what time and what day I have to leave to be at the funeral. So I will try to do a stream next week. If I do, it will be Ivy. Baby girl, you're not helping. Oh my God. Blooper, you saying hi? Okay. Life with boxers. Good? Everybody good? Yeah? He's mad. He wants to go to bed. So tomorrow we start trying out, I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Schutzend. It's now known as IPO. But we'll be trying that out and seeing if he's a good fit for it. Right? Butt bongos. Blooper. Your FOMO kicking in? Okay. All right, guys. We said, any last minute questions, feel free to ask. If not, I am going to bounce out and say thank you again for joining us tonight. Well, yeah, us counts, right? What even are you two doing? What was that about? You guys are dumb. Have a great night, guys. We have end credits, apparently. It'll just be boxer fights. A little boxing match. Good night, everybody. Thank you again.